Hello, my loves. Welcome back to another episode of Successful, Wealthy, and Confident. I have a wonderful guest here. This is our third time doing a podcast together. His name is Bryan Castillo. He is an Akashic Records guide. So I know that in the previous podcast, we've spoken about energy, we've spoken about our stories, we've spoken about Reiki. Now we're going to go into Akashic Records, what that is, just a brief 101 of how this works, what is Akashic Records is what this podcast is going to answer. So Bryan, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Priscilla. I think this is something we talked about for a while, so I'm excited to share the amazing energy of the Akashic Records. I'm actually going to do a live channeling to answer the questions that Priscilla is going to be asking me, so it should be exciting.
Yay! All right, well, I'll go ahead and let you just get that started.
Awesome. Okay. So I like to use a prayer to help set the sacred container and to also help access my own records. It's called the Pathway Prayer. It's an invocation that taps into the frequency of my records. It does take a few seconds for me just to get familiar with it. And then once I'm tapped in, I shall let you know, and then we can kind of get started. So I also invite you to close your eyes with me as I set sacred space and as I say the prayer. Go ahead and take a couple of deep breaths. Relaxing your shoulders. Releasing any stress or tension. Allowing yourself to settle in this space. Allowing yourself to open and receive the energy from the Akashic. I will go ahead and set sacred container. Just continue to breathe. Only the highest vibrations of love and light can be in this space, and all objects in this space for the highest good of myself for this reading today. All other energies must leave now. I call on the highest levels of the divine that knows that love is the power, and truth from which we read, the highest level guides and angels of myself to help us with this reading. Archangel Michael, hold this space for us, and so it is. And so we do acknowledge the forces of light, asking for guidance, direction, and courage to know the truth, as it is revealed for our highest good and the highest good of everyone connected to us. O Holy Spirit of God, protect me from all forms of self-centeredness and direct my attention to the work at hand. Help me to know myself in the light of the Akashic Records, to see myself through the eyes of the Lords of the Records, and enable me to share the wisdom and compassion that the masters, teachers, and loved ones of me have for me. Right, the records are now open. I'm going to take a second just to sit in this energy, and then we can get started. So the guides have just a brief message they want to share. These are my Akashic guides. They want to share that each and every one of us has our own Akashic guides, as we each have our own records, our own blueprints to our soul. This Akashic reading and channeling is here to activate your own Akashic records within your own soul blueprint. Simply open and allow this channeled message to be received. And so it is. All right. Seems like they're opening the space for questions, so let's begin.
Wonderful. Oh, wonderful. So, for the people who don't even have a clue what Akashic Records is, have never heard of it, what are the Akashic Records?
Yeah, that's a great question. Let me ask them, how can I describe the Akashic Records to the viewers? So the most important thing they want to highlight with the Akashic Records is it's an energy. Akasha means ether or sky when translated. And it's this etheric field of energy that stores everything that has happened, is happening, will be happening, of our past, our present, and our future. And because of this, it holds so much depth and insight and divine knowledge that can help you and help everyone guide themselves through their life experiences by holding this higher perspective of any situation, of any emotion, of any thought or interaction. And this is the great gift of the Akashic Records.
Wonderful. It does sound like such a beautiful gift. I want to highlight what are the benefits of opening Akashic Records. So somebody books an Akashic Record guide and they want to get to know themselves, right? Get to know their soul, essentially. So what are the benefits for opening the Akashic Records for an individual?
Yeah, what are the benefits of opening the Akashic Records for an individual? So they're saying the main benefit of the Akashic Records is to use this energy as a mirror to reflect to you your own lessons, your own karmic situations, to gain a broader insight and perspective of your life's journey. They want to say that it's easy to be enmeshed and really engrossed in your experiences and struggles. And because of that, it can be hard to see the purpose or the meaning behind what's going on. But the Akashic Records, they want to say, is connects you to your higher selves, higher aspects of you in other parallel timelines, other higher dimensions, past versions of you, to help you remember the knowledge and power that's resting within your soul. And so they're wanting to say the struggles and the pain in your life are there to help trigger and activate your own awakening. Because we all have this gift within us. It's just a matter of remembering. And so I, as an Akashic guide, am just here as a permission slip for you to enter this realm of knowledge that we all carry, since we're all interconnected in this web of life.
Wonderful. So the thing that stood out to me in that description is awakening, right? So maybe as a general tip, what could we do as individuals, maybe as a whole, everybody that's listening to this podcast, what can we do to further our own awakening through looking at our Akashic Records and looking at our souls, essentially, this mirror, right?
Yeah, that's a great question. And they're giving me this image of taking one step at a time, moving forward. They're wanting to say sometimes the enormity and the overwhelming struggle that we experience can cause us to pause in our tracks. But they want to remind us that moving forward is the only way through it. And by moving forward, you can see the interactions and the reactions of your purpose and how you express your energy. And with moving forward, all of this is stored in Akashic Records for you to access in the future. And what I'm hearing is the future versions of us are helping us in this now moment by sending us love, by sending us compassion. And so when we feel these insights, when we feel these nudges and intuitive guidance, it's really us helping ourselves. And in that moment, we awaken the inner healer within us by recognizing that we have the power to change our own life. And so that's how they want to say it.
Absolutely. That is it. Baby steps, taking one step at a time. You take one step every day for a year, and that's 365 steps, right? Quantum leaps are a culmination of baby steps. And that is what manifestation is. It's taking the action. It's really actually making things happen by embodying it on the inside and then actually working towards it on the outside. So I love that. My next question is, how can this help us heal? So you were saying that the guides are saying that, you know, we have this pain in this life. We have these difficult lessons, right? So what exactly can we do to continue to heal ourselves by using this tool, this Akashic Records, as a tool?
Yeah, that's a really potent and very powerful question. They're wanting to highlight how love is connected to healing. It's hard to love something that we're not aware of. And so by accessing your records, you can gain insight into the shadows that maybe you're not aware of, to bring it to the surface, and with your conscious awareness, offer it love, offer it gratitude, and compassion, and grace. And in that moment, you're accepting that aspect of yourself that maybe you haven't been accepting. And you merge that part of you back with your being. And they're wanting to say, when they use the word remember, they really mean remembering the different parts of us as one whole being.
Right.
Because we have different members and parts of ourself that we fragmented through trauma, through suffering, and we're here to merge those back with us through love, through our loving awareness, because awareness is love. Awareness is light.
Absolutely. So can you go in a little bit further and a little bit more descriptive as far as how the Akashic Records give us a map to our souls? So, right, trauma fragments us and separates us from our bodies. But how does that look through lifetimes, right? We have multiple lifetimes, we have multiple versions of ourselves. So how is this map of our soul supposed to essentially help us in this life, help us heal, help us grow, help us become, as your guides have been saying, more awakened?
Yeah, that's a great question. They're wanting to say a lot of the struggles that we experience in this current incarnation, a lot of it are just really karmic lessons passed over from many past lifetimes. Even lifetimes that are off planet in other galaxies, other star systems, other universes, other dimensions. And because life is very temporary, there's only so much that we can accomplish or complete. And so as energy is neither created nor destroyed, in a way it gets transferred over into the next life for you to transmute, to evolve from, to learn from. And it's part of the transformation process that Source is seeking, as it's seeking more to experience the different versions of itself, the many infinite ways it's trying to express itself. And so sometimes some lessons, some cycles aren't closed because it seeks to experience and express itself in a different way in a different lifetime, to see if that type of environment is suitable to close that cycle, to close that karmic lesson. And so sometimes what I'm hearing now is the current incarnation that a lot of us are living, we have the energetic support from the earth, from our sun and the solar system, from our star family, from higher dimensions. They are helping support us energetically to help close a lot of the cycles from our past lifetimes, because we are in a great transition into 4D and fifth density evolution. Because what they're wanting to say is we've been stuck in 3D polarity for many, many years. And the situations that are happening on the world, they're coming up to the surface for us to become aware of, to shine a light with love, compassion, and grace before we integrate it back in our system as a collective. And so this is why a lot of the things that are happening now at an individual and collective level, it's because we're really here to learn about love, of both the dark side of us and the light side of us. And that's what we're really meant to do here in this current lifetime.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, there has been talk of us on a global scale going from what, 4D to 5D? Is that what that is? What does that even mean? Like, it's a different level of essentially our vibration, right? As a whole?
Yeah, so the way they're wanting to explain 3D to 4D to 5D is just our increase in our energetic capacity. So over the past 4 years, they're wanting to say specifically 4 years, we have been going through an acceleration of catalysts and triggering points in our journey, meant to help really accelerate our growth, our conscious evolution. And in doing so, we're able to hold more of a capacity of love and compassion for ourselves and for other people. Transitioning from 3D to 5D is transitioning from the state of survival and fear into the state of love and trust and acceptance. And so what they're wanting to say too is those that are still struggling in fear, these lessons are really being highlighted bluntly in your face to really accept with your loving consciousness. What they're wanting to say is it's going to get tougher as we continue to suppress those shadows, as we continue to deny the parts of us that are wanting to re-merge with us. And so just recognize all the things that are happening in your life are here to transmute so you can re-merge again as a whole version of you. Because it feels like we're very fragmented as a collective, as a society. And it's why many of us are feeling called to work together, to co-create, to collaborate, because the lone wolf template that we've been holding is no longer serving our highest good as we ascend into our loving awareness, which is the fifth density.
Wow. Amazing. How are you feeling, Bryan? You're taking all of this in. How are you doing?
I'm feeling very clear. My guides are just sending me so much grounding energy at this time and so much love, because they're wanting me to emanate this energy to the viewers so they can feel it too. Because what's happening as we're talking, we are activating them on a subconscious level. We are co-activating with each other. So those that are watching, you're giving us codes to activate our DNA. But at the same time, as we're speaking, we're also giving you codes to activate you on a subconscious level. And so they're wanting to say this is very powerful when we co-create together, because there is an acceleration of growth. Because doing things by yourself, they're wanting to say, imagine building a house by yourself. It's going to take many years. Versus imagine building a house with 10 people. It can take 1 week. So imagine it that way.
We all need each other. We all need to work together, and you know, I think society nowadays are more divided than ever, and I think so many of us are just tired of it. Accepting each other for who we are and loving each other and being open-minded. I think that will really serve us if we, as a collective and individually, agree to try to approach each other with love and compassion and understanding. I want to kind of bring it back to the you said that we come from, you know, different galaxies, different star systems. some people have no idea what that even is, and I still have like a very, very limited knowledge of what that even is. I know that there was some kind of karmic war or karmic debt with people from Orion's belt, I think is what you said. So maybe just like a brief idea of what these galaxies are. Our souls come from different like all of that cool space stuff that I have no idea. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. And what I'm hearing is this information is starting to come to light because more and more people are ready to hold this information within their body, within their awareness and consciousness. And so when we talk about starseeds, when we talk about souls that are off planet or from different star systems, they're wanting to remind us back to the idea that Source is expressing itself infinitely. So infinitely means being a starseed or an alien is part of that expression. If the term infinite exists, then so must everything under that umbrella exist, is what they're wanting to say. And so a lot of our times, our souls incarnate in different planets, in different humanoid life forms, to experience different versions of life, to have different experiences of Source. Because Source is trying to know itself, and so to know itself, it wants to experience every different version. And so they're wanting to say there are many different versions of life forms that we are not fully aware yet as a collective because we're not ready to hold that capacity of information. And I like how the sirens are going off as confirmation. I want to say with the Orion Wars, a lot of it has been introduced to us slowly as a collective. So they're bringing it back to Star Wars, Marvel Avengers. We're being prepared as a collective to slowly integrate this truth that we have been missing in our society. And it's something that a lot of us are starting to see from a bigger scale. These ideas that people are coming up with about Star Wars and superheroes, where do you think they're channeling this information they're wanting to ask us? From the Akasha. Ooh, I'm getting chills. From the energetic field. As all thoughts and information are stored in the Akashic field, so it's all coming from one area, from one place. Ooh, does that make sense?
That makes sense. That makes sense. Are you saying there's a Hulk in another dimension? Because that would be really cool.
Absolutely. And they're wanting to highlight something specifically about superheroes is X-Men. For those of you that like the X-Men, there's actually some truth behind the people or the mutants in X-Men. They have little insights or Easter eggs of the mutant gene or the X gene, but they're really highlighting how much dormant DNA that we have yet to activate. They say we've only activated or using 2%, 3% of our DNA, and everything is junk DNA. But that can't be further from the truth. There's nothing as junk in this universe. Everything has a purpose, everything has a meaning. It's just a matter about remembering and activating those codes within us stored in our DNA. And DNA holds the key to pretty much all of life. And so as we increase our vibration through our healing, we activate those higher aspects of ourselves, higher faculties start coming online. And what they're wanting to say is what I'm doing, everyone will be doing eventually. So it's not something that is special to one person. We all have it within us. It's just a matter of remembering.
Wow. I want to be Wolverine.
I know, right?
If we're choosing X-Men, I want those Wolverine
I know. I'm
claws.
ready. I'm ready to control the weather like Storm.
Awesome, awesome. Well, this is incredible. So how do our guides come into play with this? So we I know that we have, spirit guides that are assigned to us by God, right? We have our angels, we have our ancestors, we have a whole team of beings that are behind us as individuals. Are they present when the Akashic Records are open, or do we have like a separate set of guides that are with us when the Akashic Records are open?
Yeah, I love that question because as you're saying, they're like, we're always with you.
Aww.
And I feel it right here in my heart. And I want to say the heart is really the bridge to these other aspects of yourself, the other dimensional beings like your guides, your angels, your higher self. The heart is the bridge. It's why it sits in the center of your being. And it's why we feel a lot of pain and excitement and joy and suffering, because it's all surrounding the heart.
Range of motions, range of emotions.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, to close this out, is there anything that that your Akashic Records guides would like to share with us? Just any last minute things?
Yeah, let me see if they have anything else they want to share. So they do have one quick message. They want to say that as you continue your journey, step by step, you are being divinely guided by your higher self and your guides. Doubting it will only hinder this guidance. Trusting and accepting it will only accelerate this guidance. Start recognizing there are always two sides of one coin. Maybe there has been a situation where you've been focusing on one side, but this is an opportunity to see it from another side and see how that changes your reality. So it is.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Do you have any personal questions you'd like to ask before I close the records? Or other questions you'd like to ask?
What you just said really hit home for me, because it's kind of hard for me to turn my human brain off sometimes. Like sometimes, especially when you're dealing with the human emotions like anxiety and worrying about the future. Is this gonna go well? I have to do this, this, and this. I've been very much in that headspace personally, because I'm about to move in a month and I'm about to completely change my life, and I'm constantly finding my mind worried about the details, worried about the small things, and what you just said, trusting the universe, knowing that you're in good hands. It really, really hits home for me, because it's something that when we get into this whirlwind in our minds, it can be hard to come back to that and realize that we are always taken care of. So I don't really have any questions. I think that statement itself really hit home for me, and I think if there's anything else that they want to add to that, they can.
Yeah, so they're saying as you're speaking that into existence with your voice, the vibrations of your own natural tones, you're anchoring that kind of knowing in your own Akashic records. You're anchoring that trust and acceptance in your Akashic records, and I feel your soul contracts surrounding the old paradigm of insecurity, anxiety, fear starting to transmute. And so they're wanting to say the more you use your voice to anchor in your desires, your beliefs, the values that you want to hold, it's going to change your records. It's changing the energy field in your own being, and in the Akashic field. And so the voice is very powerful. They're wanting to say it's even underutilized, if anything.
Yeah.
So continue to keep speaking your truth, literally speaking out your truest, most authentic expression, because it's anchoring into this field of the Akasha. And what's happening is we're all connected to this Akasha, so we all end up benefiting from your own truth.
Absolutely.
Got chills.
Yeah, we are who we say we are. We speak. It's that term. We speak our dreams into existence. That is manifestation. That is creating the life that we want to create, which is the ultimate goal here: healing, awakening, being the best version of ourselves. You know what? Let me ask them this. Let me ask one more question, and I'll relate it to success and wealth and confidence and the whole theme of this podcast. So with quantum leaping, we have different timelines, different version of ourselves, depending on the choices we make and the things that we do. Is there really a high vibrational version of ourselves that is living the dream life, the actual dream life, where they have the dream job, they have the dream house, they have the dream, partner? Like, because I know that is an actual thing with quantum leaping, but it's like, how do we get in touch with that? How do we, with divine timing, right, manifest and become that version of ourselves so that we can bring that life into our existence? It seems like such a heavy feat sometimes when we're doing this inner work and we're feeling this pain, and we know that that version of ourselves doesn't feel that pain, doesn't have these struggles, right? They've overcome it. Does that actually exist? And if so, how can we speed up the manifestation process to become the highest vibrational dream life version of ourselves?
Yeah, very powerful. This question is super powerful, but the answer is very simple. And they're wanting to say it goes back to self-acceptance. Because when you accept yourself, you're accepting every single version of you in the past and the future in different dimensions and parallel timelines. And so you start merging with those versions of you, the more you're accepting yourselves. And again, it's back to the heart and owning your most authentic self, accepting your flaws, accepting your struggles, accepting your shadows, accepting your love, your gifts, your abilities, your thoughts, the way you behave, accepting all of it. Because in a way, it's an expression of these versions of you in different timelines that are also going through the same thing. And so what they're saying too is, when it comes to the thoughts, the manifestations, all of these in a way doesn't really matter, because we're always manifesting. What really matters is how can we express ourselves authentically in any given moment. And that's what's most important.
Absolutely. Well, thank you.
Of course. Feels like they want to close. They have been sending us a lot of heart light codes and activations for everyone, including us. So I just want to say thank you, guides. Thank you, Akashic Records, for these healing codes and for your insight. As I close the records, I invite you to close your eyes and set the intention as well to close this space. Thank you, masters, teachers, and loved ones, for your love and compassion. Thank you, lords of the Akashic Records, for your point of view. Thank you, Holy Spirit of Light, for all knowledge and healing. The records are now closed. The records are now closed. The records are now closed. My energy stays with me. Your energy stays with you. And so it is.
Wonderful. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Bryan, for channeling that. That was wonderful.
Absolutely. They just were sharing so much love and compassion for us, because they see and understand our life as a human. And so they just want to reflect and hope that for us too, to give it to ourselves, because we have that capacity to give love and compassion for ourselves. Because the more we give it to ourselves, we can overflow and offer it for other people. And that's kind of where we're leading and heading towards. But they are just really rooting for us from the background, from the sidelines, because they don't want to infringe on our free will. They respect our lessons, they respect our path, but they really are hoping for the best for everyone, every single one of us.
Absolutely.
So it's very powerful.
I love that. Yeah, and that's the truth of it. We can't give from an empty cup. We have to fill our own cups first. We have to love ourselves first. It can be difficult to do that, because nobody's perfect. But loving ourselves. It's a daily practice. It's a daily effort. It takes action, and it's easy sometimes, and sometimes it's difficult. And taking life day by day, trying our best. That's all we really can do. And it's just amazing that we have this tool. We have the Akashic Records. We have, we have records of everything that is and will be. That's kind of insane, but in a good way,
Yeah, it's honestly kind of like it's kind of like a cheat sheet for life, but I can't help but feel more people are accessing this energy, the records, because we're needing to.
Right.
And so a lot of people will be feeling called to learn about the records and how to access it because a part of them knows that they've done this before in some lifetime or many lifetimes in the past, but it's just because they're going to be drawn to it. Just in the same way that we were drawn to Reiki, it's because we've been healers before. We've been these witchy mages and people of magic before. It's in our soul, and it's just a matter of bringing it forth.
I know, right? That X-Men stuff. I was like, I'm ready to have some superpowers. That would be so cool.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's only a matter of time, honestly. It's only a matter of time.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much again for coming on this podcast, Bryan. I really, really appreciate it. Um, Thank you for the viewers who are listening and gaining these codes. Um, is there any message that you would like to say to the viewers before we end this podcast?
Yeah, I just want to say I appreciate every single one of you watching. Your energy is needed. Don't let anyone make you disappear because you're just as important as anything else in this world. So I appreciate every single one of you. And thank you, Priscilla, for having me on. This was really cool to co-create this container that I feel like is just beginning. So I'm
I know,
excited.
right? It's only the beginning.
In the
Thank you
beginning.
so much, Bryan. All right. I love you, my viewers, my listeners, and I'll see you in the next podcast. Bye.